I guess the most common mistake that young producers, new producers make is sending their music off a bit too early when tracks aren't quite ready. Maybe, you know, I mean, when is a track ready? When is it finished? When is it not? If it's not finished, it's hard sometimes, but definitely make sure that you're, you know, 200% happy with it, and you think that it represents not just what that track is, but you know, what you are going to potentially want to do with a project. You know, make sure that it's ready, and that belief needs to be heard in the sound of it. So don't send half done things or something that doesn't stand up, because we've all started somewhere, and it's cool to have tracks that aren't ready yet. You know, it's just a part of the process. I guess anyone that's kind of struggling to get tracks finished, you know, where you might just have a really strong idea but actually can't get it to that point where it is done. I mean, collaborate, you know, or you know, go to a publisher. You know, some people might have folders worth of tracks that are just riffs, and maybe the production isn't there, maybe it needs something else. You know, go and speak to a publisher. Maybe you'd be really great at sort of melodic top lines, or doing chord structures, or, you know, maybe, you know, that's the path that a lot of people end up taking. You could end up as part of a writers team somewhere, writing on the next Rihanna album, I don't know, whoever, you know. There's nothing wrong with that as well. If you think that that's strong enough, there's other outlets for your music. But if you simply just want to get a track done, get it finished, you know, just collaborate, you know, either if that's friends or someone that you think might like it or believe in it, you know, go to them and see what they're saying. You know, there's nothing wrong with that as well. But just as long as that belief in what you're doing is coming across, you know, that's what's important. I guess a bit of kit that I'd like to see, I mean, it kind of exists, I suppose, is some sort of build your own controller. I mean, these things have kind of been around, to be fair. I'm probably not looking far enough, but something where you could actually build a modular controller for your own studio, but not just, you know, dials, faders, whatever, you know, keys, you know, actually kind of build a controller in that way. I should go and Dragon's Den.
Yeah. As a hardware controller.
Yeah, as a piece of hardware. Because I find, I mean, there's so much that's been done now with plugins, and it's been done really well. There's plugins I can mention that I think could do better, but I'm not here to talk about that. But, you know, they will get better and stuff. I mean, we've got all the emulations of things now, and, you know, where can it, you know, that will just carry on doing what it's doing. But for me, something that is a controller that can sit in front of your screen in your studio and be a keyboard as well as all the other controls that you want, basically. And like I say, someone's probably jumping up and down saying, why haven't you noticed this? Because that's all that does, but I haven't, sorry. I guess the process with things for me, I mean, with remixes, sometimes I've got in the sort of to-do folder, as I call it, sort of 16-bar loops of beats and ideas and things that I can sort of call upon. And when I get asked to do a remix by a label, I immediately think, oh, that could work, that would. But then equally, sometimes it's nice to kind of start completely with nothing. I recently remixed London Grammar. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. You know, all I know is that when I do remixes, I'm very respectful to the original, and I want to almost keep the vibe of the original, but just kind of make it my own. So I didn't know where I was going with that, and I ended up somewhere completely, I don't know, with it. That's completely unplanned. But it can go the other way, and even obviously with the originals as well. You know, I've got folders of stuff, of beats I might have done on a plane or wherever, when I've just had like half an hour on the laptop, and I'll always dip into those. I mean, I had a part finished track recently that I was so close to being done, and all of a sudden I needed a remix on a new track that I've done. They wanted a different version, and I knew they were the same key. I could just hear them in my head, so I just did that, and it just worked. And that was a whole track. That wasn't even just a loop, and it was like it was meant to sort of be. So yeah, stack up your loops. I guess the track that I wished that I'd written that is someone else's is probably, it's old, Gat Decor Passion, because I just think for a record of that time, 1992, when technology was very different. It was very good, but it was very different. I think to have achieved that type of feel and emotion in a record and the production at the same time that record has got, I think was just something else. Whether it's one of those records that's just, oh, it's just another one of those big anthem tunes that's on, you know, whatever club hits 2000 and whatever we're in. It isn't that to me. It's like, as a piece of work that is, you know, sonically, you know, all the elements in it and all the stuff that was written in it as well. You know, the bass, there's two bass lines in it. There's the piano, the strings, the way the vocals have been used. I mean, I was fortunate enough, I met the guy and I ended up remixing it with my old project quite a few years ago now. So I've heard all the elements as well, which hardly anyone would have heard. And yeah, it's a piece of work, that record. I think the best advice I've been given is kind of something that I sort of knew or felt anyway, but someone told me recently this, and I met with a friend in the pub, and he was with a friend of his who does creative writing, and he teaches creative writing as well. And he said, and I could apply this to music straight away because it's a creative thing, and that is to kind of not be over analytical about it. He was talking about the times of day that you write. So he was talking about, I get up in the morning, whatever time, and I write stuff, because the analysing part of your brain isn't so switched on, and you're not being over cautious or over whatever. It can just sort of flow. And I totally apply that to music and the way that I create music. You know, a lot of my stuff is done quite late at night. Sometimes it'd just be me, the laptop and a dining table, or it don't have to be in the studio with a big desk or with a big system necessarily. It's just about where you're at. And I think to take yourself actually away from what can be, you know, quite an intense situation when you're writing and creating and producing or whatever you want to call it, I think it's really good to take yourself away. And the other thing I will say just on this quickly is, if you haven't heard of them, find out or look into the Brian Eno Oblique Strategies cards, which is quite deep, but it's the same kind of thing. You randomly pick a card and you have to do what this thing tells you. If you're hitting a brick wall in the studio or on your laptop or wherever you are, you know, don't get the app, get the cards. It has to be, get them in your hand, get the real things. There's a lot of apps that do it, but it's the same thing. Take yourself away from the situation, and it's quite deep on this, but it's true. And that's what this guy was saying. It's like switching off that part of your brain that's being over everything, that's actually making you hit a wall. I think whether you're a DJ or producer or whatever you class yourself as, I don't think it matters. I do think people know. I think people now with digital music and the internet struggle with what a remix is, for instance, and what an edit is, or what a bootleg or mashup or whatever it is. And I think because of things like SoundCloud, which is an amazing thing that's opened up a whole world of other possibilities and reach and stuff. I think because of that and the kind of you know, I just think people struggle with that more than whether someone's a DJ or producer or not. Whether they care, I don't know. I mean, for me, I don't, you know, I use the word, oh yeah, I'm a producer, but a producer, like in the more traditional sense, is a long way from what I do. I'm a bit of a nerd with a laptop and noises and a studio with kit in, you know, that I love making those noises with. You know, a producer is someone, I suppose, in a more traditional sense, that brings a lot of people together as one to achieve one sort of thing. So there's a lot of real producers, Mark Ronson, those kind of guys that will probably not like the term producer for someone that's in their bedroom on a laptop, but that's what that is now, I guess, as well. So without talking in riddles, I think the lines are a bit blurred. But I think a DJ clearly is someone who is in a club entertaining people with their own music or others' music. And I think a producer is lots of different things these days. I think the software these days has opened up music to a lot of people that wouldn't have had a opportunity, say 10, 15 years ago. I mean, I was really fortunate. My school, when I was quite young, was invested in, and they got a studio together. And I thought that was normal until I left and went to college, and other kids were going, "Your school had what? What do you mean?" And I was, I was very lucky. Nowadays, though, it's very different. It's not unusual at all to have, a room full of iMacs with, whatever software on. So I think everything is accessible now. It's what people want. They want it in their hand on their phone, or they want it just on a computer, or they just want to have a go at things. And I love that. I think it's great. And music is a communal thing that everyone should have a go at and collaborate and do stuff with, But it has made it really easy, yeah. And it has made it's made, when there's a certain trend with a certain music, especially with electronic music, it's just saturated with people doing stuff. On one hand, that's great because some people get to rise through that because the quality is there, and there's more there. There's more on offer, I guess. But it has just saturated it a bit too much. Whereas 10, 12 years ago, someone that was doing, that was making music, whatever they were doing, it was a lot more of a novelty. There's a lot more of a sort of different feel to it, and that's partly down to digital music as well, the change, and the internet as a whole, not just whether someone's got Logic or Reason or something. So there's a lot of different factors that are thrown into it, but ultimately I do think it's great that anyone can have a go at making music. I think it's brilliant. But again, when it just comes to laying claim to what you are and what you've done, the lines get a bit blurred, like with the producer thing. It's one of those. But I just think, again, going back to what I said earlier with the sort of advice and stuff, it's like, if you're going to do it and you think you've really got something, brilliant. That's amazing, because that's in music industry what people want, what people want to hear. But just be ready. You be ready and make sure your music is ready. The best BPM is whatever music you're making, whatever you're playing, whatever. It needs to have a feel to it as well. So don't lose that by adding 5, 10 BPM because you think, yeah, it's going to be one of those. I don't think that's important. I think that the music should breathe and have a feel to it. From a DJ point of view, it's much better to speed tracks up slightly than slow them down. There's nothing worse than I've got a great track, but it's 130 something BPM, and when I DJ, I play about 125, 126, thereabouts. I hate slowing tracks down. That's the worst thing. So I don't know. It's each to their own. Don't expect me to slow it right down on the Pioneers though. I won't do it. Maybe 1 BPM.